Oh boy, we are diving into what would be the craziest goaltending move this generation if it were to go down. Not just in terms of the player involved, not just in terms of the talent, but in terms of the story, man. The story is all we care about here. And I know this ain't the first time we had brought it up, but we have some more talk to dive into. Could the Edmonton Oilers acquire Sergei Bobrovsky, either in free agency or otherwise? I don't know. Let's see. So, Sergei Bobrovsky, obviously, Florida Panthers goalie, a guy who has been a Vezina winner, he did that twice, Stanley Cup championship, he done that twice, and he's 37 years old, 6'2", 183 on the last year of a $10 million AAV deal. You know, side note, it's kind of funny that this 10-year deal was seen as such a big, bad contract when it was initially signed, and for good reason, too. Sergei Bobrovsky, in the first year of that $10 million AAV contract, was pretty alright, but shortly in the seasons after, the contract was seen as not really all too great. He was a .900 save percentage goalie in Florida, and while it's true that's technically not bad, especially these days, back in 2019-20, .900 was like the minimum that you could get as a starting netminder, and this guy had a .323 goals against in that first season too. It took him a while of getting used to the Florida system and just learning how to win with that Panthers team before Sergei Bobrovsky fully fulfilled the contract that he signed and that he was brought on to Florida to play with. 3 back-to-back-to-back Stanley Cup final appearances and 2 Stanley Cups to his name. Sergei Bobrovsky, it doesn't matter that he went out there with a .323 goals against in his first season. You pay $10 million for a goalie that gets you 2 cups. I think you're pretty happy with that. This season, however, Bobrovsky put up an .877 in 52 games played. 27 wins, 23 losses, 1 OT loss, 4 shutouts, and a .307 goals against. Not the best. In fact, you could say that Sergei Bobrovsky, amongst the starters in the league especially, was pretty bad. But the whole Panthers team was pretty bad, and they were lacking some significant firepower up front. No Barkov for the entire year. Matthew Tkachuk was gone for a good chunk to start out the season as well, so it's not like Sergei Bobrovsky had too much help. But with that said, the future Hall of Famer is going to be a free agent, and assuming that by the time this video goes up he hasn't signed an extension with the Panthers, he will go to market. Which is why we head over onto this article posted by Sean Sinclair on NHLTradeRumors.me that asks, could Sergei Bobrovsky join the Edmonton Oilers this offseason? Now, the funny part about all this is, when you look at the Oilers and what they had accomplished this year, their goaltending was also pretty subpar. In fact, you can say that for the past few years, even going beyond the 2 Stanley Cup Finals appearances, goaltending and defense was always the issue with this team, and that proved to be a significant hurdle that was unconquerable in this year's playoff run. The Edmonton Oilers had an .899 save percentage out of Connor Ingram, an .891 out of Skinner, an .871 out of Pickard, and an .858 out of Jarry, the guy that they traded Skinner for to potentially fix their problems. In fact, you can say Tristan Jarry might have just baited the entire province of Alberta with what he was able to prove. I mean, I get it. Jarry is a BC guy, so he could be a sleeper agent going out there and trying to sabotage what's going on in Edmonton. But this is a guy that was a super good Oil King. There were connections to the Oilers for a long time because he played his junior career there. And he had a .909 save percentage with the Penguins in 25-26 before getting sent over to the Oil. This guy went from a .909 to an .858, and then he posted up an .895 in the one game he had with the Oilers in the playoffs. Not a great record, and overall the goaltending picture in Edmonton has been a significant disadvantage. it's kind of a miracle that Stu Skinner was able to bring this team to the Stanley Cup Finals in back-to-back years. But then it's like, it's because the Oilers developed a formula where they could just outscore their problems. Give the puck to McDavid and Draisaitl, just let him do it, let him score, and then they win. This year, it wasn't enough. Let's go over to what this article goes out there and talks about, though. The Oilers are going to be looking at creative ways to upgrade their goaltending heading into next season, as they have become one step closer to Connor McDavid leaving with their recent playoff exit. Connor Ingram is a free agent, and while he filled in admirably throughout the season, he fell short of getting the job done for the Oil. Tristan Jarry struggled with inconsistent play throughout his first half of the season in Edmonton, and while he's under contract for a couple of more years, Stan Bowman won't be shy trying to move Jarry if the right deal presents itself. If he is able to clear some cap space with either moving Jarry or perhaps someone like Darnell Nurse to help reallocate some resources, there could be some cap space to take a run at veteran goalie Sergei Bobrovsky. Bob is a free agent. He is apparently far apart during contract negotiations with the Panthers, and the Oilers could be a perfect destination for him. Daily Faceoff's Matt Larkin linked Bobrovsky to the Oil in a recent piece highlighting the free agent class. And this is our source. There you go, Daily Faceoff, Matt Larkin, thank you for the idea. He writes here, remember when Bob had one of the NHL's worst contracts a few years back? Now he's a two-time Stanley Cup champion with the Panthers, a certified stud clutch goaltender, a 400-game winner, and, having won 2 Vezinas, a surefire Hall of Famer. Who would have expected he could ever flirt with another $10 million AAV contract? Secondly, a goaltending-starved wannabe contender might pay him almost that much on a short-term deal next year, and the playoffs have only exposed how much certain teams, cough cough, the Oilers, need help in goal, essentially showcasing his value even though he is idle. If Florida continues keeping the band together and inking players to team-friendly deals that break the game, Bobrovsky could remain a part of their future, but the recent scuttlebutt suggests the two sides are not aligned at the moment. Will Bob make it to market after all? Talking about joining the enemy, but at this point, if the Panthers turn their back on Bob, could you really blame him? And I'll just say this right here. Florida Panthers fans might feel a little sentimental if Sergei Bobrovsky were to find himself on another team. But y'all won 2 cups! Y'all went to back-to-back finals! Y'all went to back-to-back-to-back finals! It's fine! Your legacy is cemented in this era of Florida Panthers hockey. Everything from here on out is just extra popcorn, peanuts, and snacks. And you can just feast on it for as long as you will. Because Sergei Bobrovsky has already done what he is needed to do. If he is unable to get a contract extension with Florida, if the Florida discount is not enough to bring Bobrovsky back at a reasonable contract that they're okay with, then you best better bet that there's a team in Edmonton that will be itching to sign a top-tier goaltender option. And if Bobrovsky is that guy, obviously, the poetic nature of it says it all. Imagine going to back-to-back finals, winning the cup twice, and doing so against the same team, only to flip the switch and start playing for that same team 2 years down the line. I mean, it's Corey Perry all over again. In a similar way, Corey Perry could not win a Stanley Cup, and he kept on losing in the finals, so if you can't beat him, join him. Lose to Tampa Bay twice, just go over to Tampa Bay. And then lose to Colorado. And then do whatever it is you need to do to go back to Tampa Bay a second time. So Sergei Bobrovsky could be pulling off the reverse Corey Perry here, heading over to the Edmonton Oilers to replace a Connor Ingram, to replace a Tristan Jarry, doing whatever it is that he needs to do to will this defense and goaltending situation into more positive territory for the Oilers. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Daily Faceoff's Matt Larkin linking Sergei Bobrovsky to Edmonton in trade or free agency conversations? Thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think this is actually possible? Would you like to see Bobrovsky with the Oilers? I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.